The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
Marcus, and welcome to another episode of Toiletside Wrestling Talk. Today's guest hails from New Jersey and began wrestling in 2016. Trained at the Wrestle Factory and has worked for such promotions as Chikara, Beyond, Camp Leapfrog, Pizza Party Wrestling, GCW, Limitless, New South, Paradigm, and I could go on, but I want to get to the interview, so I'm not going to. PWI recently ranked him number 405 on their annual Top 500 Wrestlers list, and he shared the ring with likes of CC Boost, King Crab, The Whisper, Solo Darling, Boomer Hatfield, a very good professional wrestler, and I'm not going to go on for the reason I stated a few seconds ago. So let's welcome today's guest, someone who's never captured an animal, then domesticated it, and then trained it to be its butler. I give you the Golden Grappler, Travis Huckabee. Hey, Travis, how are you?
Doing all right. How are you?
You know, one of my, so like when the highlights are playing, I can see like the little window of you. I can't really see it detailed because my eyes are not great, but I always worry that in that minute that I didn't run the highlights for the right person. You know what I mean? And like, it's never happened, but I worry about that. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for coming on. You're all over IWTV. For the most part, right?
I'm at a handful of places.
I mean, more than average, I want to say.
Okay.
Or maybe I just watch like certain, wrestling promotions. But anyways, my question was, are your parents still in the picture?
Yeah.
Oh, good for you. Do you pay for them for a subscription to that?
I think they would pay regardless.
Okay, but they don't have it?
They do have it.
Okay, we'll come back to that then. One question before we get into it. You know the imaginary bear?
What?
All right, I just want to say, I don't want to. What I wanted to know is if it came from hallucinating, do you know who I can call? Because I would love to just hallucinate in general, not even see a bear. I'm old and I don't get those opportunities anymore like I did when I was younger.
That stupid fake bear has been a thorn in my side, and I would not wish it on anyone.
Really? Oh, poor guy. Are you in New Jersey right now?
Yeah.
Okay, and is that where you grew up?
Mm-hmm.
What part?
I hate saying central because no one ever believes that's the thing.
Uh-huh.
But it's, I guess, technically south if you want to get.
Well, every state, there's a central in everything, every shape.
So what I always think of is if you think about the state of New Jersey, you've got like the top part that's like that, and then you've got the lower part that's kind of like that.
Yeah.
It's I'm like right
in that
around
little area.
Yeah, right where they meet. maybe about half an hour, 40 minutes out of Philadelphia.
And then how close to the ocean?
Depending on which beach I'm going to, maybe about another hour.
Did you go to the beach like a ton growing up?
I went a couple times. I go a lot more now that I'm older.
Okay. And what was your town called? Or you might not want to give away your hometown. If you have family and friends living there. I don't think I have any psychopaths who listen to this, so I don't think there's any reason to worry about anyone showing up. But so, and that was about, you said 40 minutes out of Philly?
Yeah.
Did you ever go to shows in Philadelphia, like when you were growing up?
Yeah, that's sort of what kind of re-sparked my interest in professional wrestling.
Okay, going to like live events?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of people, I watched it on TV, and I don't know if you ever dealt with this, but I had a point in my life, maybe right around the start of high school, where I was getting less and less interested in the stuff that was happening on TV. But my older brother, my oldest brother actually, he started taking me to independent shows. So we went to Ring of Honor, went to Chikara. Those were the things that sort of re-sparked my interest in professional wrestling, that it wasn't just the same thing that I saw on TV. I saw
that it was such a huge world outside of just what was on TV.
Yeah, and for a lot of people, this was like that peak Chikara era. This was like late 2000s, where you would see Claudio and Kingston and Sarah Del Rey and you know, you name it.
Were you still in high school when you take it, or was that after high school?
So I graduated high school 2013.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I graduated 2009. What am I talking about? I'm obviously getting old.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, so it was 2009 is the year that I graduated from high school.
Okay.
So those few years were, you know, that big thing for me.
If we can go back in time a little bit, did you have a big family presence where you grew up?
Well, not too sure how you mean by that.
Like, you know, did you have grandparents and aunts and uncles like live within driving distance?
So I come from a fairly large family. I've got 2 older brothers and a sister.
Okay. What's the age difference between you and the next?
Well, my twin sister is 2 minutes older.
So that's an easy one. What about after that?
And then it's 2 years for each
okay.
brother. So I've got one brother that's 2 years older, then another brother that's 2 years older than him. So that's 2 and then 4.
Who are you closest to?
Probably my oldest brother is the one that started taking me to those shows.
Oh, okay. And who do you like the least? No, you don't have to answer that. I'm just right. So there was always somebody there. It's not like there was like a 7-year, age difference. And your parents were around. What did they do for a living, if you don't mind me asking?
So both my parents are nurses.
Oh my gosh.
So my mother she worked for a few different companies. She would drive around and provide like in-house care for her patients.
Okay. Oh,
so
wow.
People who were well enough to live on their own, but still needed to get they need a 4-hour transfusion. She would go to their house and she would hook them up and do these things for them.
And what about your dad?
My dad teaches nurses at, he's been at a couple different colleges.
Okay. But wow, that's amazing that they did that with their lives. Is that how they met?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. So were they working a lot? Like, were they gone overnight ever?
So my dad it's not that he was ever gone overnight, but he would definitely be away a lot more.
Okay.
Any of the things
for teaching?
Yeah. But any of the things where you know, it was someone needed to pick me up for school or take me to soccer practice or
Yeah.
anything like that, it would be like my mom. Meanwhile, my dad was teaching, and I think he was doing some other stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
Between his, so he was in the Air Force as well.
Oh.
So he did that when he wasn't.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so he kept himself busy. Was he a man's man?
You could say that.
Okay, okay. Like if you fought him right now in a fist fight, say you guys both got really drunk and it came to fisticuffs, could you take your dad down easily?
Easily, no.
Okay,
I think I could take him though.
off his feet.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's good to know. That's
It's-
really good to know. I'm
so-
sure he's going to enjoy hearing that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he'll send me a text message. You're just like, what was that?
You want to fight me? So what were your interests as a kid?
I bounced around with a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
I was always drawing stuff. I figured that when I got older, I would be doing something.
Oh, cool.
So that was something that I occasionally circle back to every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Every so often, you might see me draw portraits of friends of mine.
Oh, cool.
And then on a whim, I set one on fire for the sake of a 60-second promo. Anyway.
Oh, Jesus. Can you say it? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I released that a little while ago.
Okay.
So I had a match not too long ago against Becca,
Mm-hmm.
as known from Limitless, Beyond, Chaotic, that kind of New England scene.
Mm-hmm.
I had a match against her. So there was one day where I had the day off from work, and you know, I decided that I was going to draw a portrait of her.
Okay.
So I spent about 3 hours doing that, and then I decided I was going to do a promo where I set it on fire. So I did.
At what point during painting did that idea come into your head, or was it completely afterwards?
So it wasn't painting. It was
Yeah,
all these pictures that I do from people. It's usually just pencil.
Wow. Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel like I was telling somebody at work today, one of the nurses that because she decorates the whiteboard. The weather is blah 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 today. I feel like being having a talent to draw or create is like a superpower. That not a ton of people have that creativity. What's the longest a picture's taken?
Some of them are several hours. I might have a sketchbook not too far away.
Do you keep a sketchbook around, if you get ideas?
It's not that it's not that I go off and sketch whatever I have ideas. I just every so often I get the inspiration to draw someone.
Mm-hmm. Just out of the blue?
Yeah, sometimes every so often.
Mm-hmm.
But so
oh, I can see. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so
and that'll take. Do you just sit down and not get up for a couple hours?
Yeah, it's funny what you can do when you've got some good music and some patience going.
Who did you learn how to do this on your own, when you were a kid, or did you take art lessons?
Most of this stuff is kind of self-taught.
And when did that start?
Like I said, when I was a kid, I would just sit down and draw things.
Wow.
Maybe it's my sort of perfectionism or whatever, but trying to pick up on all these little details. Perhaps it's a sign of OCD or something, but
are you doing these from your head?
No.
Okay, you have something to kind of follow.
Yeah, I would keep a reference photo up.
Uh-huh.
But what I was saying is maybe it's like a sign of OCD, but I remember watching like cartoons as a kid, and I would like count all the different lines
Uh-huh.
like on a character.
Really?
So what I mean by that is like uh take SpongeBob for example, fairly recognizable character.
Sure.
So picture the way his face is. He's got the dot and then the little circle for the iris. Then he's got a big circle for the eye. Then three eyelashes on the top of them. That one overlays the other one. That's the exact same thing. Then the nose comes out into there, and the two rectangles for teeth, and then the squiggle underneath. He's got seven. Seven holes on the front of his head. Front of his face. He's got like 3 on the top, another 4 on the side. I would just be counting things like that.
Is it like counting like you're doing it on purpose, or like you just that's what happens when you
Like there was a day when I guess I just started doing it, and I just couldn't stop.
Like, can you enjoy watching the show?
Yeah, it took me like trying to like get away from it and like not physically watching it. Like I would have to, like I couldn't be staring at the screen.
Have you ever drawn a portrait of your immediate family?
No.
Okay, I'm going to present a scenario to you. 45 years old, about 165 pounds, eagle beak for a nose. Would you ever consider drawing someone whose face looked like that with a ripped body underneath? Because my anniversary just passed, but next year, assuming everything goes well, we'll have another. But don't commit now. We'll talk about it in like July. In July. But getting back to you, were you athletic at all? Like, were there any outlets for that?
Yeah. So when I was younger, I played just about every single sport imaginable. And
because
then
you wanted to, or were you kind of pushed into it?
This was something my parents wanted me to do.
Okay.
It was sort of like to throw everything and see what sticks.
Okay. Sure.
Gradually, I lost interest in most things. I kept playing soccer throughout. When I was in high school, I joined the wrestling team.
Okay. Did you ever get ringworm?
No, I did not.
Oh, nice. Good for you.
I took care of myself.
Yeah, seriously.
Around the end of high school, I really got interested in exercise and that sort of stuff. So
yeah, I was going to ask you that. Like, did you lift?
Yeah, so I remember going into my senior year, I cared a lot about wrestling, even though I wasn't very good at it. My parents, in the couple months leading up to the season, it was like, okay, they set me up with a personal trainer. So I did that in my senior year, just kept with it. I had that interest in it. So I ended up going to college for athletic training.
Oh, cool.
Partly because I misunderstood what it was.
Why? What did you think it was?
So I thought it was more about, fitness and well-being and exercise and things like that. Little fun fact, it's not.
Spoiler alert.
If you look at a school for athletic training, it's really more like sports medicine.
Okay.
That'll be like the people who work with athletic teams and, a football player gets hurt.
Yeah.
They like examine them. It was like, oh, you tore this in your knee. Let me come up with a plan with you to rehab this and get you back in the sports.
Yeah.
And that's what I ended up doing.
Okay. How many days into your college did you realize it wasn't what you thought?
I was definitely in my second semester.
Okay.
So first semester, just because of, I guess the time that I had signed up for my classes,
Mm-hmm.
I could only take general education classes.
Okay.
I did not take a single class that had anything to do with my major until my second semester.
Oh.
And in my second semester, I think it was intro into kinesiology and then fundamentals of athletic training. Those were the two classes I had.
Okay.
And those, like taking those,
Uh-huh.
still very much the intro level. It was like, okay, yeah, this is kind of neat. I don't think it was until my sophomore year that I really had a decent understanding of what I was going to be doing.
Yeah. So what do you do at that point?
For me, I was kind of in the thought process of like, this isn't bad. I need to be doing something.
Yeah.
Might as well stick with it.
And your parents, are they behind you on this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, are you like during this time, are you still like taking care of your body and eating well?
No.
No. Oh, okay.
I was still exercising and being relatively active, but a college kid who's left alone
Yeah.
will definitely left alone with a meal plan
Totally.
will go out and just eat the worst stuff. I remember I think it was my junior year. There was a restaurant that opened up on Temple's campus. So Temple is my alma mater.
Oh, wow.
There was a place that opened up on their campus named You Got Munchies.
Really?
So here's the thing. I think this place was only open from the hours of 9 p.m. to about 5 a.m.
That's hilarious. Did they do good business?
I think they did at the time.
Yeah.
They were right on Broad Street, which was kind of the very western border of the campus.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of towards the northern end. Anyway, some of the things that they sold were just offensive.
Like what?
So I had a buddy of mine
Okay.
who was proud because he got a sandwich named after him.
Okay.
I think the sandwich was called the Fat Salazar. I think it was like a cheesesteak with bacon, onion rings, mozzarella sticks. I think it had whiz on top. Oh my god, what else did that have on it?
I mean, like three things in, I wouldn't have eaten it. Like after the bacon, I was like,
yeah, it was definitely a cheesesteak with like bacon, onion rings. I think there were mozzarella sticks on there. It's either like mozzarella sticks or like jalapeno poppers.
Jesus Christ! So it's like a sandwich, and then like all the appetizers on like the sandwich.
It was definitely like that kind of stuff that you're craving.
Yeah.
At 3 a.m.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot about that element. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I remember, I don't know where I was. I was in line waiting for something like, I think it was like a Bruce Springsteen, like meet and greet. And they had like this food truck, like, there. And they put out their little sign and it said, hot dog, $9.99, any 10 toppings you want. I'm like, I couldn't name 10 toppings, even including ketchup and mustard. Like to put on
hot dog?
a hot dog. Yeah. And I just am eating it. It's just like a mess, like there was nothing to it. All right, but we're not talking about me.
Ketchup, mustard, relish,
Mm-hmm.
onions,
Mm-hmm.
chili, cheese.
Oh, chili, that's a good one.
That's still only 6.
I mean, do you count like celery salt or a pickle?
Well, I said relish, but I guess
Yeah.
I guess you could still say pickle.
Yeah.
Are we counting yellow and spicy mustard?
No, I'm going to count that as just one.
Oh, okay.
But, now I'm thinking maybe like sauerkraut. No, not on a hot dog.
People do it.
Okay.
Uh,
Like it's not... Oh, tomatoes maybe? I don't eat those on there,
I could see maybe someone getting like grilled tomatoes or something.
But the point is, it'd be a struggle to get 10 toppings on a hot... Like, to order 10 toppings.
Maybe like fried onions?
Oh, that actually could... I think I've done that before.
I think I've seen people put fried onions.
Bacon? I don't know if I've ever seen... Okay, yeah, so we get... You know what? My hypothesis is incorrect. You just proved that tonight.
I wouldn't want all that stuff on there though.
No, it seriously, it was a mess. Like stuff all over your hands afterwards. People like licking their fingers. It was disgusting. They gave the little paper napkins, like it's like the one ply. Anyways,
you would need to get it in one of those like paper like troughs and like
yes, exactly, or at least like lift up a portion of it into your mouth. Yeah. We should do another episode where we just talk about getting food into our mouths, different ways, into our bodies.
With a bucket, with a shovel.
Totally. Okay, so you're in college. When does and your brother and you had been going into Philly for shows, so you were aware of independent wrestling before you got the bug to. Mm-hmm. So how did I'm going to find a trainer. How did that happen in your head? I mean,
so what's funny for me, I remember it was either my sophomore or junior year. Chikara had hosted a scholarship challenge. You know, they bring in a bunch of people and they put them through whatever paces, and then they decide someone who would win free training.
Okay.
So I remember taking that. And I lost to the person who went on to become the Thunder Frog.
Oh, really?
But that was something that like I was, really interested in. It was like, oh man, I really want to.
Who told you about it?
It was either through social media or my older brother did.
Okay.
But that was something where it's like, oh man, I really want to do this.
Were you in a wrestling ring?
What was that?
Were you in a wrestling ring when they were?
Yeah.
And had you ever been inside a wrestling ring before?
I had not.
Was it surreal getting in for the first time?
Oh, definitely.
Like after watching for so many years and everything.
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so go on. So you came in second? Or the guy who won pinned you?
I was a runner-up. I don't know. I don't know what the.
Was there any grappling?
I think it was basic, like, you lock up with someone, then you let go.
Oh, okay.
And, like, neck bridges. That was.
Were you nervous going to this?
Oh, yeah. And, like, this was out in Easton, so I had butterflies and everything driving out there.
How long a drive is that?
It's like 2 hours, I think.
Oh, geez, that's a rough time to be having butterflies for that long. Geez.
Yeah.
Well, everything worked out, at the end of the day. But...
So cutting around a little bit. Uh-huh. So I really wanted to train, but I couldn't do that, or I felt that I couldn't do that with my schoolwork as well.
Okay.
So fast forward to a few years later, to 2015, I was finishing up my contract. I was working at. Came back, mm-hmm. and so I had come back in May.
Okay.
And then I saw again on their social media they were basically doing this again.
Okay.
They're doing another scholarship tryout challenge thing, same principle. Mm-hmm. They bring in a bunch of people. So May is also my birthday month.
Okay.
So I thought, as a birthday gift for myself, I'll go and do this thing again. So I paid the whatever $50 sign up fee thing for it.
Did you feel you were better equipped than the first time?
I think so. Like
you knew what to expect.
Yeah, I knew what to expect, but also at this time, like I had gotten my health and fitness like a lot more back on track.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had been consistently going to the gym for several months at that point.
Okay.
So when I signed up, it was like, oh, this is perfect timing. I go to this thing, and I had so much like planned out in my head. One of the first things that I wanted to do was like, okay, I'm going to show up. I'm going to have my own wrestling shoes. Also, I am not going to wear black.
Yeah, totally.
Because I knew that if I showed up there, they were going to see probably a dozen white guys wearing black t-shirts.
For sure.
Just because the nature of independent wrestling. But I'm like, nope, I'm going to wear like this bright red shirt. I had, it was a shirt for the company too. It was a Chikara shirt.
Oh, cool.
So I was like, I'm going to wear this for the tryout. And like, I'm thinking like, okay, cool. I'm going to, like, I was in it to win it.
Yeah. And when you like are there, was it like a sea of black shirts and like
Yes.
a little piece of red, you know? Like
Yes. There was definitely a large amount of like black t-shirts.
But was it good because you stood out? Like
I think that definitely helped.
Okay.
I don't know what all the logic was behind who they picked, but I must have done something right because at the end of it, they decided that I was the winner of it.
And do you find out that day?
Yeah.
Okay, they don't make you wait.
No. So it was like, I think the whole thing was about 2 hours in total.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of it, they sat all of us down on these chairs, and they, you know, Quack was sitting up there on the corner of the ring, and the other trainers were around him, and he gave his little talk and everything, like, thank you guys for coming out, we decided, winner,
Uh-huh. Wow. So your car ride home was probably awesome, right?
So they had a show later that day.
Okay.
So I didn't even go home right away.
Okay.
So I had won my scholarship.
Uh-huh.
And then I think it was like 2-3 hours later, there was a show there that I went to and, you know, watched all of that.
Had you called at this point, did like your family and friends know where you are? Like, do they know that you're doing this?
Yes.
Okay. And then after you found out and before the show started, who'd you call?
I probably told my mom first.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
And she, you know, some moms, like, they can't see their, you know, babies getting beaten up, or, you know what I mean? Not beaten up. Is your mom, was she like supportive of this?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think everything that I've done, she's been incredibly supportive of, whether she likes it or not. She's been completely like, so long as you're happy, you do whatever you want. Like,
yeah. Okay, that's
yada.
what a kid wants to hear, you know, out of their parents or their mom. Okay, so winning this thing, is there any like, what does that get you? And is there any like fine print, like if after 3 months, you know what I mean?
So winning was, so first of all, they refunded my $50 application fee for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, I think it was like you have maybe a week or two to decide if you're going to do this or not.
Mm-hmm. Would you have to move?
I didn't have to because I had finished my contract in Delaware. I came back to New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
It was like, let us know within a week or two if you're going to do this. Otherwise, it'll go to a runner-up. But after I think I decided on that, it was pretty much like, okay, go.
How many days did you take to decide?
And
was there any debate in your mind?
I think I took maybe half a day.
Oh, okay.
It was
was there anything that you're like, that you I shouldn't do it because of?
I think any of those concerns that I had, like once I thought of it more, it was like, no, I'm gonna do it.
Like, were those things like anxiety based, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. And so then when do you start training? Just like a few days later?
I think the tryout might have been on the 20th, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to spend a day or two thinking it over.
Mm-hmm.
I, emailed back like, yeah, I want to do this. And then they told me like, okay, you can show up on Monday. So I think my first official day of training was May 28th, 2015. Something like that.
Yeah. So, and so because of the thing that you won, I don't know what to call it. I'm sorry. The scholarship. Did other guys who were starting that day, did they look at you different?
So what's funny, so I remember when I had started, it was me, there was another guy, his name was Will,
Mm-hmm.
who was also at the scholarship challenge. And then Crummels and Defarge had moved to Philadelphia from Ohio
Okay.
to train there. They were at the scholarship challenge, and I remember they would give me plenty of flack or anything. I think maybe a week or two after they signed up, there was someone, her name was Anya. She had come over she originally trained with CZW, transferred to our school. Another buddy of mine who went on to become the Whisper.
Mm-hmm.
He signed on a short while later. There were a few people from the scholarship challenge that ended up joining on.
And do you have like a bond with these, like the guys that who are you're starting out with?
Yeah, I think if you look at like some of the people, I love like everyone that came up through the Wrestle Factory, like at my time or after my time.
Mm-hmm.
Take Boomer Hatfield or Shay McCoy, Green Ant,
Mm-hmm.
literally anyone there, Calix, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
I love all of those guys, but I think the people I was closest with were, like Hermit Crab, Crummels and Farge, like the people that started in that general sort of generation, I guess.
Sure. So what's the hardest thing to grasp at when you're starting out training? You haven't had a match yet.
Just pacing on it, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Not like flying through all your moves.
Yeah, like, you start training and then it's like there's 8 million things that you're trying to keep track of in your head.
Does being a pro wrestler affect how your ability to enjoy watching, say, Raw or or AEW or something? Like, can you ever watch it as a fan again?
I can.
Okay.
I think being a pro wrestler has affected my ability to watch other pop culture, but
Well, because you're always looking at the lines and everything.
no, not even that. Like from a different sort of aspect, and I'm gonna end up going off on a tangent here. I know
That's fine. I don't care.
I
I don't mean like I don't care, but go ahead.
So this is my own little tangent. I've gone
Okay.
off on this on people before, but
Okay.
I've got two different ones. You can pick two different tangents.
Okay.
There's either one about My Hero Academia
Uh-huh.
or there's one about Home Alone.
Mhm.
You can pick.
Do the first one.
So, I remember I started watching it because my girlfriend at the time, she was a fan. So, anyway, I was watching it and I was looking at the characters. And have you ever watched any of this show?
What was this? What was that?
The show My Hero Academia.
No, I have not.
So it is a cartoon where everyone has like a superpower.
Okay.
You know, some of them are better than others. Some of them are really cool. Some of them are really lame.
Okay.
And of course, it is this. It's Japanese.
Okay.
Anyway, just like in wrestling, these people with different powers and abilities, a lot of them also have these crazy, colorful personalities, personas, whatever.
Yeah.
I remember there was one day where I was talking about who my favorite characters were on that show, and I was really upsetting her because I'm talking about like people that I didn't like. Like there's a character who his whole personality is just that he's brooding, like, I hate my dad, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Like that kind of character. It's always the pretty boy with like really cool abilities, whatever, the tragic backstory. I'm like, boring.
Totally.
I was like, oh, really? So who do you like then? My favorite character on that show is this. This is gonna sound terrible, but he's pathetic.
Okay.
Like,
do you like him because like you feel sympathy towards him?
So here, let me give you a brief description of this guy.
Okay.
So he's this short dude who's like half the height of everyone else there.
Mm-hmm.
He's scrawny. He's a coward. He's this ridiculous pervert. He's got this really lame power.
Mm-hmm.
Like he grows these little sticky balls out of his head. He can like detach one, throw them, they stick, and he just grows them back.
And when he throws it, are these intending to hurt someone?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like they don't hurt or anything. They just stick. Like,
okay.
They stick to everything except him. So he could like pull one off, throw one at someone, and just keep throwing them at them.
And they keep regenerating.
Yeah. Then they're like incapacitated. They're like stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
So admittedly, a pretty lame power.
Yeah.
When you're comparing to people who could like fly, this guy's got super strength. This person can, their arm turns into a cannon.
Yeah, so like the very bottom, like the last pick of a good superpower.
And like hardly even a good superpower, but anyway.
Okay.
He is my favorite character on this show because he is so freaking pathetic. He has a very easy motivation to understand. Like I said, he's a pervert. It's like you don't admire that, you don't aspire to that, but you can very easily understand that every single choice that he makes is based around this one singular thing.
Mm-hmm.
So watching a scene, watching an episode, you know what he's going to do before he even does it.
Yeah.
And even if you don't know what it is, you have a general idea of what he's going to try. But you also know that because this dude is pathetic, he is usually going to fail. And he is going to fall on his face in the most embarrassing way possible.
Okay.
So he has easy motivations. Like his one singular reason of wanting to be a superhero is that he wants to get girls. Again, every single thing is about this single motivation. He is not too cool for anything because he's the exact opposite. Mm-hmm. He's completely lame. There's something like almost endearing to seeing him do this, and the saving grace for him is that he's such a failure. Mm-hmm. He's this fantastic comedic relief, and because he never actually succeeds in any of these really like mischievous plots, it's like, okay, it's like, oh, that's just him being him. if he actually succeeded, then like, okay, he's a criminal, lock him
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And
It's like when you hear like a senior citizen say like something racist, it's just an old person and they.
Sort of on that similar lines. And like, also remember, this kid's a superhero or like training to be one. He's also a massive chicken. He's a coward. And like the singular time that he like ignores the cowardice.
Yeah.
He actually saves the day.
Really? Just one time?
I haven't seen all of this show.
Okay, yeah.
But like there are certain instances where as soon as he stops being this terrible person, he actually like does something helpful. He actually
Yeah.
And the fact that he has this capacity in him, you just cheer for him to like you want to encourage him. It's like, yeah, do the thing. like save the day. You can do it. I think that's a much more interesting character than like brooding, like
yeah, totally. I mean, that's been done.
it's
Brooding.
Again, I would much rather see someone who goes out and fails hard and is entertaining than someone who is just the same sort of personality or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Just with a fresh coat of paint.
Well, this pathetic guy, it seems like it's way more interesting than like, yeah, the guy who can fly and is good looking. And yeah, I mean, that's like boring. But I really liked hearing that story. Let me ask you a question, something I thought of. Are you still with that girlfriend?
No.
Okay. And B, have you ever used being a professional wrestler to get a girl? Brought one like on a date to one of your shows?
So I think, first of all, I don't think I could pull that off.
Okay.
Between my own personality and my own perceived ability, I don't know if I can go out and like, oh yeah, we're just going to this show. Oh, what's that? It's me.
Yeah, or like, hey, I gotta run to the bathroom, and then you come to the ring. That's never been done?
No.
Yeah.
I I do not nearly have.
I'm searching for that story of the person who's done it. Okay, so first day of training, and then to your first match. How much time is in between?
So I started training at the end of May of 2015. I debuted February of 2017. So maybe a year and a half.
Okay. And during that time, was there any point where you're like, I'm ready for my first match? Or do you wait, or does someone have to tell you you're ready?
So the thing with the way that Chikara worked is that, they filled up the show with people who were, that came out of their school. And it was definitely more and more like that as things went on. But the problem is that there were only like 2 times of the year when they would introduce new characters. It would either be at the start of the season, which would be, January, February sort of time.
Sure.
Or it would be around their anniversary, which was in May.
Okay.
So if you were ready, let's say...
So there's only two opportunities a year? Wow.
So there were some people that just because of the timing of this... So like I think at the time he was Razor Hawk, but he now goes by Razor Wing. I think he had only been training for about 9-10 months just because of when he joined on.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, there are people who, like me, was probably ready earlier than it took just because I didn't really hit that sort of time frame.
Okay. Is there any wrestler jealousy amongst the wrestlers? Like if they do, they do have their first match.
I think there was.
Okay.
Crumbles and Defarge, I think they hit like that sort of May. They might have debuted at King of Trios, which I think that was Memorial Day weekend. So they debuted even though we had started like a week apart.
Oh, wow.
And then, I went on for another few months before I really got to do much.
Mm-hmm. Is it frustrating?
Oh, it definitely was. Like, there were people like, Green Ant, who he had been training for a long time before he finally debuted.
Why? Like, okay, so I know that there's twice a year where new talent come aboard. What would take that long? Is it somebody says you're not ready?
It's not even that. I think it's just because the way that the storylines tended to work out at Chikara.
Okay. So how would you grade your first match, A through F? Have you watched it again? Would you watch it again?
So here's the thing about my first match, is that it's really kind of muddy when my first match was.
Okay.
Because the way that things worked, again, there were some interesting storylines at Chikara. In December/January of 2016/17, we tried something interesting. We, did a series of closed like studio tapings that we would release as an entire season.
Oh.
So what happened was we got a bunch of family and friends. We brought them into the factory. There was someone on the roster who had a relationship working with a youth group or like an after school program. So we brought in like school buses full of kids.
Oh, cool.
So they were like our audience for this secret season.
Oh, that's cool because you know that you're going to get a big reaction out of children.
Yeah, so like through the course of a couple different weekends in December, January, we just filmed a whole bunch of matches out of sequence, just back to back to back, that we would then release online later on.
Okay.
As I think it was season 16 or season 17 of Chikara.
Oh, wow. So are there certain promotions, I'm not saying better, but are there certain promotions that are more fun to work at than others?
Yeah.
And I don't want to put you in a bad position. What are the things that make a promotion fun, in your opinion?
I think some of it is the locker room, for starters.
Okay.
I've been very lucky in that a lot of the places I've worked, they've been filled with these fantastic people. I can't tell you the last time I worked with one that just wasn't this way.
Okay.
So that's the starters, the locker room there. And then another bit kind of comes down to like creative freedom with it.
Okay.
I've been places before that have been very kind of stifling to the creative process. It's very much like you have to fit inside this box and don't you step out of it or else you're going to get, reamed by the owner, blah, 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 blah.
Are those places that you just don't go back, you don't work for them again? Or try to get booked?
Yeah, stuff like that. It's either, you don't want to go back or like you'll go back at a certain kind of price or maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe a place closed, maybe something else happened.
So is it, I know it, I've heard that it's fun being on the road. Is that true? And B, is it ever not fun?
Yeah. So I'll take the first part of that.
Sure.
So the highlight reel that you showed to me
Mm-hmm.
It was a match of mine against Perry Von Vicious.
Mm-hmm.
That was a match that I had for one of the seasons of the Road for Limitless Wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And the way those worked is that you kind of showed up and, they had a big list. And it would just be like, hey, can I have a match against this person? I was like, yeah, sure. So he just gave you a spot on the list.
Okay.
So it's like you show up, you see a bunch of your friends. I was like, can I wrestle this person? And usually it was like, yeah, sure. You'll be number 16. You'll be 17,
cool.
whatever. So I got to go there. I got to work with also Perry Von Vicious, fantastic person. I got to work with a few different people at that taping.
Okay.
Like Ashley Vox, Davey N.
Oh, wow.
Amongst others. It's like you just show up. Your whole intention there was to have the best match you could.
Is it nice having that like archive of like episodic wrestling TV?
It was somewhat, yeah.
And
And all of that was just so much fun. Just the environment, just being around people. And
yeah.
on the other hand of that, talking about instances that are less fun.
Uh-huh.
Everyone hates travel. I cannot find a single person who loves to hop in a car for, 5, 6, 10, 12, 14 hours to drive out to somewhere.
Uh-huh.
I love the actual wrestling. Like anytime I get to go to the Midwest or if I go down south, I love the shows. I love the wrestling, but the drives there are miserable.
You should look into teleportation.
I
don't know. I haven't followed up on their technology in quite some time, but I imagine that would probably be ideal for someone in your profession.
Oh, it probably would.
So, a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was a month ago, I don't remember, when the PWI 500 came out. Is it an honor being on there? Like, is it something you get like excited about?
I wasn't quite as excited this year because I think I dropped like 60, 70 places.
Yeah. But a bunch of people came off the list anyways,
Yeah.
So like if like okay, so you were 405. Did you have a paper copy of it or a digital copy?
No, I don't.
Okay. Was the first thing that you would have done if you had one, look at the 20 people in front of you or 20 people behind you?
So I remember last year, I think I was 327.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what my spot was. I remember I looked at, I think just the image that I saw, it had 2 or 3 people in front of me, then 2 or 3 people underneath me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the list had, so I think Matt Mikowski, it was either Matt Mikowski or Avery Good were like 5 or 6 spots ahead of me.
Okay.
I think Matt Tremont was right before me, and Wednesday Dorado was somewhere right after me.
Okay.
Either a spot or 2 beneath me. But those 2 I remember though.
Is being on this list something like fodder for like giving your like friends trouble? Like your professional wrestling friends. Is it you ever give them shit for not being on it?
So I think I would mess around with people like.
Yeah.
I think if I'm ever like higher up than someone, like I'll mess with them.
Yeah.
But
Go on, I'm sorry.
No, like I was just gonna say, I also realized that it's really weird how they come up with the rankings and everything, and I definitely agree. There are
like what's the formula?
Yeah, like there's a lot of people who were either lower than they should have been or weren't featured, and I try not to put too much.
Do you have like last year's copy?
No, I don't.
So it's nice, but it's not like, doesn't define who you are
Yeah,
as
it's a
like as
cool,
your place in the wrestling industry.
yeah. I put much more uh mental currency behind, you know, some of the matches that I have or some of the
Yeah.
people that I help train.
Is that nice to kind of like I mean, you haven't been in the business terribly long, good enough. Do you consider yourself a veteran? And do you get satisfaction when younger guys come to you who are starting out?
I don't think I've ever thought of myself as a veteran
Hmm.
unless it's a place like Camp Leapfrog.
Yeah. I mean,
Just be,
you've been in it for what, I mean, really in it for 4 years wrestling, right?
something
I
like that.
mean, not including training and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So 2017, yeah, so like 4 years, just over.
Or do
Uh,
you still feel like you're looking up towards other guys for advice?
like I think if you stop looking up towards people, then you're in trouble.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good philosophy. Travis, let me ask you a question. Do you ever have time? I mean, I know you wrestle a ton. Do you ever go on like vacation?
Last time I tried to go on vacation,
Uh,
uh, it was a absolute disaster.
d- d- uh, can I hear a little bit why? Or
Yeah,
you don't have
yeah,
to tell
yeah,
me.
yeah. Um, so back in February,
Uh,
I took a week off from work. I flew down to Austin, Texas.
okay.
So I spent a week down there. The problem is that in February it snowed in
Oh, that's
Texas.
right. Oh,
Yeah.
so it defeated the whole purpose of going down there.
Yeah, I thought like, it'd be nice. The weather's usually like 70s, 80s,
Yeah,
whatever.
totally. It's a great town too.
Yeah. So I flew down. I think I got down on like that Thursday evening.
Uh-huh.
I want to say that Friday it started snowing.
Did you go alone?
Yeah.
Did you know anyone in Austin?
Yeah, I was
Oh, okay.
I spent a week visiting a friend of mine down there.
Okay, but like basically you guys could have really just done a FaceTime call
Yeah,
for the most part.
so it started snowing that Friday. Um we were stuck inside. We had to boil our water. We
Oh, that's right. I
yeah.
remembered like Ted Cruz flew to Mexico
Yeah.
like that time. Yeah.
Yeah,
To boil, that's
we
crazy.
so we had power for most of it. We only lost it for about an hour
Oh, okay. That's good.
on one of the days. The apartment right next door to where we were at flooded
Okay.
because the person right above them, their pipes had burst.
Oh
And
my
then like,
God.
so yeah, fortunately we had food, we had power for most of it.
For
Uh,
most.
yeah, but we just we had to
Yeah,
boil
it
the water.
sounds like you need a do-over on that one.
Yeah, I think I flew back that Thursday or Friday.
Uh-huh.
Um, and like the day after I flew back, it was like, 70 degrees back down there.
Oh, of course, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the most beautiful weather.
Yeah,
Um,
that was the last time I tried to take a vacation.
Now do you have like a girlfriend or girlfriends?
No.
Okay, is that difficult to meet someone in your profession?
I can be.
It can be, but are you or do you kind of like to yourself say, I'm gonna wrestle for these years and then I'll deal with the women?
I think I've always been the type where, I'll go with things as they happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Is
it,
there anything that comes above wrestling?
uh, maybe family.
Mm-hmm. But then it's wrestling.
more or less.
Oh, I'm so jealous. And you don't have any kids in this country at all?
In this country.
Yeah.
No.
You're living the dream if you don't have kids. You're still young. Just wait. Seriously, wait out as long as you can. That's my best advice as an older man. All right, Travis, I'm going to let you go in a minute. Can I ask you 5 non-wrestling related yes or no questions? You don't have to elaborate or anything. Okay, question 1. Have you ever run for president of the United States of America?
No.
Okay. Can you pick a lock?
No.
For $10.2 million, would you move to Afghanistan and never leave there again? You could bring someone. I'm going to say it again, $10.2 million.
No.
Okay. Are you allergic to silver?
No.
Okay, good. That's great for everybody. And do you know anyone who drinks beer with a straw?
No.
All right, 5 for 5. You did it, 100%. Good job. Where are you wrestling next?
I think, what is it? November 5th, I think, is the day. I will be going down to Virginia for VCW.
Oh, nice.
The very next day, I will be up with Blitzkrieg in Connecticut. I'm blanking out on the name of it. There is a show that will be at some kind of video game comic book expo con,
cool.
something.
Oh, a bunch of nerds. That's awesome. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
I think
Include me.
I think then after that it'll be with Camp Wheat Frog again.
Oh, cool. Are there any holidays or occasions that you would not wrestle on? Like, would you wrestle on Christmas Day?
I would.
Anything any day that you wouldn't?
So, my goodness, I think I once wrestled on my grandfather's funeral day.
Oh, see, I was about to say, I assume nothing like morbid, but really, after the funeral?
So it was the day of his official funeral, but then a few days later, they had another service for him because he was in the Air Force.
Oh, okay.
So I got to kind of get my goodbyes and everything out that way.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think if it was something with, my immediate family, like I would not wrestle on like the day a family member died.
Yeah, or having like surgery or some kind.
Yeah, or like if, my partner was giving birth, I wouldn't wrestle that day. Like,
yeah, but again, just don't even get that stuff in your head about spouses and children. I'm telling you, it's not all it's cracked up to be. I love my kids. I like them about 75% of the time. All right. Thank you so much for coming on. I was really looking forward to this. I'm glad we finally got it done. So I'm going to wish you good health and safety in the coming months. And you're always welcome to come on.
thank you very much. Glad
All right, Travis. Awesome. Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.